The Kalima plugin is compatible with NeOn Toolkit version 2.3 or above. Because it's essentially a tool whose task is to manage other plugins, there's no reason why you shouldn't start with many other plugins installed. But before getting into the Kalima user interface itself, let's take a look at a few important settings. From the Preferences dialog, we reach the Kalima reasoning page. Although it's quite safe to leave these options at their default values, knowing a bit more about them and what they do is useful when it comes to customizing the application for your own experience. The first text field allows us to set the location of the ontology to be used for retrieving descriptions of other plugins. This list allows us to select the preferred criterion for classifying plugins. Such classes can fall into one of three categories: the sparse but highly expressive classification by design functionalities, the more balanced one by support for methodological activities, or the more compact classification by collaborative aspects of ontology design, which we'll choose here. It's also possible to set how often Kalima should check for updates in the plugin descriptions, as well as caching classification results in order to speed up subsequent runs. To launch the Kalima dashboard, either select the Launch Dashboard item from the Kalima menu, or simply click on the Kalima item in the NeOn Toolkit toolbar. After the tools are classified, you're presented with a set of widgets called the dashboard. The main NeOn Toolkit window hasn't gone. It's always possible to switch to the NeOn Toolkit workbench at any time through the Back to the NeOn Toolkit button, and return to the dashboard in the same way you would when opening it for the first time. The dashboard comes with a set of utility widgets. To begin with, the Tool Organizer provides an overview of known and available plugins and classified according to the preferred criterion. The Search in Projects widget allows you to search and select data and metadata, including, but not limited to, ontology entities that are generated by the NeOn Toolkit or its plugins. The Helper widget provides real-time guidance on the selection of plugins performed by the user. The Kalima dock is used to keep track of open widgets in order to avoid screen overcrowding. And finally, the Profile Manager is used for storing sets of widgets and associating them with ontology projects. Let's suppose we want to bookmark a set of NeOn Toolkit plugins that can help us in managing various aspects of an ontology lifecycle, such as argumentation, documentation, reuse, and planning. We can perform this selection through the Tool Organizer. For simplicity, we can filter the plugin overview so that it will only display the plugins that are known and installed. By browsing this tree view, we pick Cicero for argumentation, Watson for ontology reuse, and OwlDoc for documentation. This tree view is mirrored by a graphical view called Wheel, which also shows all the categories for a single plugin at once. Through the Wheel view, we'll pick 3 more plugins. For project management, Gont. For performing queries in the Sparkle language and navigating the results, the Sparkle plugin. For managing reuse, we'll pick the Oyster GUI plugin. You can see that this selection has spawned a dedicated widget for each of the plugins we selected. Each of these widgets is representative of a plugin and allows single-click access to any of the interaction modes supported by the relevant plugin. For example, if you wish to perform ontology documentation in OwlDoc, but you don't know how OwlDoc is presented in the toolkit, just trust Kalima and click Open. The OwlDoc wizard now appears and allows you to export documentation for an ontology without any need to search for it in the NeOn Toolkit workbench. It is possible to customize the interaction mode for each widget by clicking the Settings button. For Oyster, we choose to open its help page or cheat sheet along with its perspective. Kalima is also seamlessly integrated with the Gont plugin for the scheduling of ontology projects. Let's open Gantt from its widget and load an existing plan. From a Gantt plan, it's possible to call a Kalima dashboard with all the plugins needed for serving a particular phase or activity. As an example, let's open a dashboard for the implementation phase. You can see the Kalima dashboard appearing once again, but this time the plugin widgets are minimized as entries in the dock widget. They can be undocked at any time by clicking the arrow button, and docked again by clicking the dock button associated with each widget. You don't need to recreate your set of tools every time either. Just go to the Profile Management widget, type in a name, and click the Save button. The current set of plugins will now be available as a loadable profile the next time. Kalima does more than just classify and provide access to plugins too. It allows users to search ontology projects for various types of data and metadata, in order that one can be selected and presented to the system. If we start typing real in the search widget, the Real-Time Content Assistant returns a list of matches, including linguistic information, OWL classes, properties, and argumentation issues. Now, suppose we want to see how an entity is modelled in the semantic web. We can search the Theatre project for the Information Object class. And when we find it, we just select it. You can see that this action triggered an automatic Watson search in the Watson widget. This is made possible by extending the code of the Watson plugin with a small extension for Kalima to use. This is also the case for virtually any other plugin. For further information on the Kalima plugin, please check out the NeOn Wiki and the Kalima section in NeOn Toolkit Help.